All right, let's see. Hey guys, just thought I'd do a short relaxing stream tonight. I intended to go live an hour ago or something, but I think I'm getting a cold, so I drank some tea instead. I hope I can avoid it though. I don't really have time for it. So welcome to everybody tuning in, and to any newcomers. I guess I'm gonna bore some of the people that already watched the city by explaining what we're building here. Let's see, everything's fine. All right. So what we've been building on the stream so far is this city, which is kind of the only build-up thing within the region as of yet. By the way, if the music's too low or too loud, please tell me in the chat, because I don't have any idea about it myself. And I bought a new mic, so hopefully my voice is a bit more clear now. A supporter, I suppose, gave me huge donation a couple of days ago, which was pretty awesome. So I went out and bought a better microphone to invest that money back into the channel, basically. And greetings to all the comments from Rome and France, and yeah. Hable español? Oh, no, sir. So, anyways, back to my short explanation. This is the main city so far of the region. The idea is to build a region with interconnected cities and towns and villages, small hamlets as well, scattered out through this region, and connect them all by rail and intercity bus services. Maybe smarter mass transit, but I'm not sure that I'd want that. Could have a... Nah, it's probably just gonna be rail and buses, but I think this city might end up with a tram line sometime soon. Just to add a bit more complex infrastructure. It's always fun to work with. So, so just a quick tour. This is the downtown area, and it should look pretty Central European. Now, I don't really pick a certain country, so I have some creative freedom. But the defining features, I guess, is this main statue of someone who was important. The city hall and the main train station. And here I'm gonna build the bus hub. Might be this stream, if not then the next probably. Then if we go, what direction is that? North. If we go north, we have some sprawling suburbs reaching north here, a bit of public housing and a park. Have a castle up here, which I've said twice now that I'm gonna replace, but maybe I'll just stick with this building. I'm kind of it's starting to grow on me. Then when we cross this main river, we build a train depot, repair shop here. My railroads don't have catenaries because all my trains are diesel powered. And for those of you from Denmark tuning in, you will know these trains by heart, either for good or bad. A bit of industry here and a construction lot. This is the only real industrial area I've built so far. And it just has a bunch of like manufacturing, maybe a bit of high tech. This is a logistics center. So as you can see, it doesn't have a container capacity. So it only handles like smaller goods. I know this ship is kind of misplaced because it's I think it's a dry bulk carrier. But it's the only one I had right now. Have some public housing, have a bit more public housing scattered out throughout the city. I'm gonna build some more today before I finish this city up, start a new one within this region. So those of you that tuned in last time know that I built a hospital here. It was recommended by Jonathan. I think he's in the chat with us today. So I called it Jonathan Hospital, but as you can see, it's gone because it fucked up traffic completely. So I've relocated over here so that it's not right near the main arterial leading into the city, because that caused a lot of traffic issues. Sorry. The main issue so far is that I actually thought that I had mods to disable healthcare, but apparently I didn't. So half the city was sick, something like 4,000 inhabitants. So the ambulances had a real busy time, and they're still kind of busy because more than 1,000 inhabitants are sick. But yeah, I relocated it over here. I retained the name, or the credits rather. So I guess that's about it. I've marked here to what extent I want the city to continue, and this is just to represent smaller villages or clusters of small suburban homes that I'm gonna build to surround it. IC3s aren't too Central European, no, they're pretty Danish. Well, they're built in Italy, and I suppose Northern Italy is in Central Europe. Most European cities have disused railway lines that are converted into bike paths. Could you possibly do that for this map? Yeah, I could. I could do that. I'm gonna see if I can remove the noise gate and see if that helps with the microphone. It's a Blue Yeti, so I haven't really gotten around to configuring it properly yet. So I'm just, I think I'm just gonna jump into it. And I'm gonna check the chat as often as I can to answer some questions. Now, one thing I think the city needs is a stadium for a football team, so that would be a soccer team for the Americans tuning in. Oops. Because if this is the biggest city of the region, it's probably also the one that has the main sports franchise. Not necessarily, but it's pretty common. Oh, that was not straight. I think I'm gonna pick the stadium. It's not real life scale, but few mods sadly are. I might replace it with a bigger one, but I think the only other one I have is this one, which I think is from Leicester, so it's probably just a tad too big for this city. I don't know why my camera keeps doing that. I'm just gonna see if I can copy some of the parking I made over here. Would make it just a bit easier. Well, I sorta can. Just gonna remove these. And it's fine that I copied the decal as well to make it a bit more, I guess, grungy looking. There are parking lots after all. Oops. Yeah, I think it might be a bit small, this one, but most stadiums are this size on the workshop, if I recall, so I'll probably scout for a one that's just a bit bigger and use that one. Oops. Yeah, these decals are just getting in the way. Oops. Concrete is what I'm looking for. And I'm using these ploppable concrete squares instead of the surface paint, just so I don't create like clipping. You'll know what I mean if you know. Of course, now I can just paint it. Why not use the parking roads? The new roads kinda, they mess up the node where they are attached. At least that's the case for me. So you'll have cars that jump over the node and do all kinds of waggy stuff. So that's kinda why I avoid them. So I want to see if I can add some public housing out here as well. If the stadium is relatively modern, like from the 60s or so, it could be pretty fitting to have it built in an area that was also constructed after the war. Try to find what's wrong with those parking lots. Do you mean these? Or no issues with these? They are functional. I never do fake parking. that makes sense. I never do parking lots where actual cars don't park and you have to plop the cars. I do these functional parking lots. It's much more fun and annoying. Okay. Maximilian and Amar, thank you for the subs, man. Oh, this is not aligned at all. Hope you guys don't have OCD. Because this is pretty bad. Much better. Install a bus line. I'll get to it, Anton. I have a depot ready in here, and the city is about the size where I think it's okay to start making bus lines. So I'm definitely I could have 2 lines so far, I think. We're up here. So now I need to find some public housing, which is never pretty, but this one's pretty awful. Could be a good fit. I'm gonna have 2 of these and then the majority being a bit lower in height. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Would be a fitting place for the supermarket, but I have no idea what country these brands exist in. They're probably all American. I really need to download some more stuff here. I really don't have what I want. Holy sh... Okay, I assume this is a German furniture store. I'm gonna wait, see if I can find something better. Whoops. And I'm just gonna convert this to a suburban road. Let that be dominant. Oops. I'm gonna reach a bunch of comments in just a sec. Just wanna zone this, so it's gonna start growing. My schools are looking kinda American. I suppose this one is pretty fine. But it's near a large public housing estate, so it needs to be a big school, I think. Is there someone from Russia who can translate the song? If it's Russian, I apologize if it's not. Okay, so it still looks very naked, but we're gonna add some stuff and it's gonna be good. Let's see. Good evening from Sweden. Hope you're all doing great. I'm doing fine, man. Thank you. Good evening from Brazil. Does anyone know the mod in the bottom left corner that shows all the roads? I'm not sure which one you refer to, man. Maybe someone can help you from the chat. Sweden is definitely a country of public housing though. Yeah, they had a project during the 60s called well, literally translated, it's the Million Program, and it was an attempt to build 1 million flats in I think in a 10-year stint, maybe. Millionprogrammet, it's called in Danish and Swedish, I think. And they did it, as far as I remember. Trolleybus road, yeah. Oh, yeah, we got a lot of public housing. Million Program building yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. I swear I hadn't read that message. I wrote a small assignment on the Million Program a few years back. You're Danish, yeah. I'm trying to find someone asked an interesting question. Not that you guys sound interesting, but a really good question. What Central Europe countries are your inspiration? Any specific cities that caught your eye? Not really. I don't think I've ever looked at Central Europe in Google Maps. So just, I guess, Czech Republic maybe, southern Germany. In Romania we have whole neighborhoods of public housing, not just one block, yeah. Let's see if we can use one of these vanilla packs, or if they are awful. I don't remember how they look. It's not bad. It's a very symmetrical playground, but yeah, can work with that. Just gonna add some parking to these wonderful, beautiful public housing flats. I live in public housing myself. Well, it's not like this, but it's public housing nonetheless. And the rent is ridiculously cheap. So it's not all bad. Work smart, not hard. Trees, 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 trees. I'm gonna make a marina as well in this city. With a lot of small boats and probably a small area with boats up for repair as well. So somewhere out here maybe. Yeah, Project Japan is still ongoing. I hope to have the next episode out by tomorrow. But the save it's getting more difficult because I'm about to reach 100,000 population with the realistic population mod, so it's taking a toll. But yeah, it's still ongoing and it's still a lot of fun. Are you looking forward to working construction or city planning in real life? No, I kinda wanted to pursue a career in city planning a few years back, but it's a very tough work environment in Denmark. There are not many jobs, and the people that occupy the current positions have like 30 years of experience. I would not like to live in public housing. It depends, I guess, on the country. I can see if you live in like decayed commie flats in a low-income part of Romania, then perhaps it's bad. But if you live in public housing in Denmark, it's hit or miss, really. We gotta remember that when public housing were built in the 60s and 70s, people wanted to move there because there were a lot of like luxury stuff as opposed to living in an old apartment building downtown. The possibility of having your own bathroom, not having to share that with the neighbors, or having a bathroom in the backyard even. Pretty decent sized kitchen, and it's not bad. Today you can have a really large flat in a public housing estate in Denmark for very little pay as well. It's very cheap. Nothing is ever finished with Infrastructurist, man. That's the truth. That's the truth. Maybe I'll finish this, because if I keep the cities to a scale like this or smaller, then it's durable. I stopped being pissed about not finishing cities when I found out YouTubers never finished theirs. Yeah, well, I guess people finish in the respect that they upload a final episode where they do some cinematics and say it's done. and I've never done that, so that's I could have done that, but yeah. Finnish in terms of looking at it from like an aerial view and thinking, okay, this could be a real city, it looks finished. Probably not, no. That kind of scale is just hard to achieve unless you're building a really small city. I mean, just replicating a city with 100,000 people in real life in City Skylines is gonna take a really long time, depending on how much detail you do, of course. Any tutorial or trick about how to use Runix expressways? If you like pain, suffering, like if you have a flair for like sadomasochism, maybe a lot of coffee as well, drugs maybe. I don't know, I can't recommend doing drugs, but that could ease the pain of using Runix expressways maybe, if the dose is high enough. No, they're really tough to use, but their results can be just as good as the work put into it. If you want to use expressways and you don't want to kill yourself while doing so, just use Tokashis. They are less like customizable, but that also means they're easy to use, and I actually used Takashi's expressways in the next episode of Project Japan, simply due to time restraints. What's the biggest city you made? Actually, I think the Japanese city is the biggest I've made, considering that it's at 100,000 people with the realistic population mod, so it's getting pretty huge. It's not as spread out, but the density is pretty ridiculous. I just lost my current save game today. Oh man, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Is the microphone too loud maybe? Or maybe I'm too close to it. Pretty sure the gain is at 0. Let's see. This song is called Every Day by an artist named Bucky. It's in the playlist on my YouTube. I made like 16 beats yesterday. I made like 100 beats in the past 2 weeks. And I'm not even chatting shit, that's straight up truth. Work, that's the only way you make it proper. Work. I kinda wanna place this building. It's absolutely disgusting though. Hope I have something else. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. What a beauty. Oops.
gets me down. I'm always up with this shit. Always up with this shit. The things that nothing gets me down, man. How could it get me down, man? People showing me love. Like, that's the number one thing. Like, you can be a rapper, you can be a producer, anything.
Okay, I tried to put the mic a bit away from my face. Sorry about that, guys.
Real quick. That's a fucking fact. Someone showing you love, show it right back. And I mean that.
Oops, misclicked. Here they are. All right. So I kind of need some like row houses. Pretty common as well in different parts of Europe. Built after the same cookie cutter template. Oops. It's a really nice collection on Workshop of these row homes. Just search for Stockholm basically, and there are a bunch of them. Hey Crumbs. Ah, politics talk going on. I'm getting home vibes looking at you. See the Sakudas too. Thanks. Where are you from, Yen? You gotta be interested now. Hey, have you thought about going in the asset editor and customizing your backyards? I know you don't care much about detail in the suburbs, but I do think that look nice. It even saves props. That's actually a really good idea, Lian. I think one of the... I think there's a YouTuber actually doing that with the Brooklyn row houses. I think he's detailing every backlot with props. Just to reduce the prop usage and give himself an easier time when he built large areas. So I should try it maybe. I think the good thing about these assets from Avenia are that the lots are already somewhat detailed or decorated. Nothing excessive, but it's enough for me to make me leave them be basically. So I'll just add in the trees and that's kind of it. Always ask myself why is so low traffic in your Japan city. Yeah, the main issue is that the city is it's too good. Basically, there are so many jobs and houses within such a small area that everybody can walk to work. And so when I started to add mass transit as well, that's just it just all added up to a really like a city with high walkability. The only thing that actually roamed the streets were police cars and taxis. So what I've done is I've put up the price for public transport a lot. So a ticket, you have to be a millionaire basically to take a trip with the bus. Surprisingly, a lot of people still do. And then another aspect was, it's a bit more complicated, but I manually edited the XML files of the realistic population mod to force people to have higher dependency on their cars. So in the Japanese city, more people will now prefer their car as opposed to before. So there are more cars now. Not any traffic jams as of yet, but there are a lot more cars. Czech Republic, Moravian Silesian region to be exact. Ah, it's cool. Very historic region. You're one of the few people who makes European themed cities. Glad to see one. I started to make Bratislava an almost 1-to-1 scale. Jplays, I think I've seen some of your posts on the subreddit then. I'm pretty sure I've seen a dude attempting to recreate Bratislava in a 1-to-1 scale. So it's looking pretty impressive. It's a massive task. Thank you, Justy Burger. And Jordan, thank you for the subscription. Just gonna save. Have you seen it? Yeah, sure. I looked the subreddit a lot to get inspiration and to see what people are doing. So I've seen a bunch of pictures of it. Are you still going to do the voting for big projects in the cities? Yeah, I think I've kind of neglected that in the Japanese series, and one of the reasons being that I've been very uncertain about Japanese urban planning and, you know, how their cities look. So for me to create a meaningful vote, I have to present options to you guys that are all realistic within the setting. So there's currently a vote going on. You can go and vote if you want on the latest episode. That's kind of the city council and the prefecture has to decide on how to manage some of the empty lots they have in the industrial harbor front. So should we focus on public housing? Should we focus on letting private enterprises and investors buy up the ground? Buy the lots and develop whatever they want. So I'm trying to have the voting going on again. Whenever I'm gonna start an American city, hopefully within not too long, I'm gonna have a ton of voting because it's just easier for me to present some realistic options. Hey Park Gaming. I hope it's a bit better with the microphone now, that I'm not trying to actively swallow it. The issue with Japanese cities is the lack of ability to create the suburbs. Too many tiny, tight alleys and small houses. Yeah, I agree, there are a bunch of issues. I mean, I think the only thing you can build that actually have Japanese architecture is high density commercial. There's a pretty good amount of stuff in that vein from the workshop, but as soon as you hit the residential aspects, you're gonna have a problem. So it's been the most challenging project I've built so far, and I'm kind of sad to realize that since I started building it, there's been a lot of Japanese stuff released to the workshop afterwards, like new roads, new buildings, electricity poles, all this kind of stuff, and that kind of I don't really have the time, nor do I hate myself enough to redo the entire city. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, in like a year's time or something, maybe more than that, than trying to build another Japanese city, perhaps in just a bit smaller scale, and see what we can achieve then. Because I've kind of had to go through a bunch of, not loopholes, but I've kind of had to tell myself, okay, this looks okay. You can't achieve much better than this given the material you have. But yeah, it's definitely not as realistic looking as, you know, a European or an American city, because you don't have the content available as of now. Is it even possible to recreate cities and canals? I don't think City Skylines is flexible enough. The game is flexible enough. You can go and check Crumbs McGee's YouTube. He's recreating parts of Rotterdam, and he manages to pull it off. But the reason he does so is because he builds all the seawalls with props. So it takes a ton of time, but that's the only way to really have it look really nice, is to use props basically. Have you tried building a futuristic city? There are lots of good assets for it. Not really. I don't think I could find it believable enough for me to really feel immersed into it. I mean, with immersion, it's not like this is Skyrim, but I still, when I look at it, I want to think, okay, this could be a place that exists somewhere on Earth. Speaking of historic, a bit of irony is that I live in the youngest city in our country, which was established by a socialism regime to be a city for coal miners from the next city. Okay, that explains a lot of public housing, so it's just a bunch of workers' flats. Show the city please, I start the video now. Sure, Andre. I'm just rambling anyways. This is the city center, and if we zoom out a bit further, we have a ring of suburbs to encapsulate it. A port, manufacturing port, a train depot, some more public housing up here, as well as a football stadium, some row homes, houses, yeah, something like that. I think I should actually, I'm gonna return to this. It's of course not finished, but I think I want to build more of these row houses type builds. So I just need to find a place where they could be fitting. Actually, I think I'm just gonna see if I can put some in here. So usually, at least here in Denmark, they are kind of intermixed with detached suburban developments. So whenever a private investor had the opportunity to buy and utilize an entire block, he would do so, and he would try and make these row homes basically. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna pick. These one are pretty cool. This is kind of the one I've already used. This is looking pretty old. I think these are nice, but the scale is kind of off. Looks like it's like 4 stories. I'm gonna use it. Then I'm just gonna arrange them in some kind of a pattern to make them stand out a bit more, and have them placed in small clusters. I think I've seen this somewhere in real life. I hope so. Something similar at least. Yeah? It's not too bad actually, I don't think so. Hey, backyard. Okay, so let's see if I can make something simple here. If I convert this road to one like so, so we don't have all the trees blocking. Then we might as well have 3 clusters of parking, as we have 3 clusters of these row homes. And something like this. And something like that. I knew there were gonna be, wait, I'm gonna do like this instead. Oh, okay, there's clearly a lack of symmetry here, messing with my OCD. One, two, so if we move it all. Now we're talking. I'm gonna request again that someone who knows Russian can translate the song. If it's Russian. Oops. Oops. I don't know why I'm spending so much time on these. I am unleashing my inner strict toaster. Translate, you are alone, whole life we're trying to not to be alone. Oh man, I wouldn't expect anything else from the deep chilly music I find. Thank you, Mikhail. Then again, I'm actively forgetting Russian right now. So now you're going hyper detail. Just a bit wolfy. Nothing excessive, you know. Just need like just a little bit, man. Just a little bit. It does make me feel though I should have made this area bigger, like have several rows of these instead of just this one. But yeah, if I find a better place I can always just copy paste everything and add that. Let's see. Not too much more to go. This is some like contemporary apartments I built in the first or second stream maybe. So it's a bit low amount of detail, just enough for me to not be annoyed by it. I think, yeah, Lost Gecko made these, if you guys want to use them. Amadeus, yeah, these are European suburbia, all of these. And so to those of you that haven't seen it, the way I make them work with zoning is that I convert them all to level 1. In here you can see that I took the theme and then I converted all the level 2, 3, 4 and 5 buildings to level 1s by cloning them. Because I suspect some of you have plopped the Globals mod, which doesn't allow buildings to level up, making zoning very difficult because you'll have a low diversity of buildings being grown, because yeah, only level 1 assets will grow. So the only way that I know of to get around this is to take all the higher level buildings you want to be level 1. You say level 1, you give them a unique name like L1 and you say clone. Then you save the game, and when you open it up you will have them as level 1. We don't have war now, it's only a political game. Both countries want to spend money for military no more. I think Putin's actions in Georgia in like 2007 and 8 prompted the invasion of Ukraine, or at least the belief that he could go into Ukraine without Western counters. Well, economic sanctions, but the Russian military-industrial complex is not gonna crumble because of Western sanctions. The Russian middle class is going to tank And it has, but it's not, I mean, I don't think Putin cares, to be honest. I wrote a 30-page, I think, assignment on the rhetorics of NATO since its conception during the 50s. So I kinda had to touch on the Ukraine crisis as well. Pretty interesting stuff, to be honest. If I had stuck with history and not just finished my bachelor's but also pursued a master's degree in history, I might have tried to specialize in like contemporary crisis management and war zones and work with Ukraine. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to get a job though, so it doesn't really matter. Kind of have to keep history as a hobby thing, sadly. Russia is big enough to survive without outside trade, thus sanctions are just empty threats, really. Yeah, I agree. Of course, in the long run, it's painful for the Russian economy to have a shrinking middle class as opposed to one that is growing and one that is getting or attaining more consumer power. But I mean, Russia has so vast resources and it's such a centralized state that doesn't really matter, people are getting poorer. The weirdest aspect of the Crimea crisis is that it even got Russia banned from Eurovision last year. We should have banned them from Eurovision for doping instead. NATO would expand to China if it could. Russia is the inconvenient obstacle. I don't think I agree. I think that's kind of a cheap analysis of it. I think their motives of NATO are very dependent on what dude is in the White House at the current times, and I don't think any Democrat is crazy enough to expand NATO without any consideration. And you have to consider that many conservatives or Republican conservatives, some of them have a very they don't want more foreign involvement from the US, they want less. Russia is lacking the technology to exploit the resources they have. They're also somewhat lacking the brain power. They've had a problem with brain drain. Well-educated Russians trying to seek their luck in different countries. It's not that bad, but it can cripple a nation. Just look at the case of Iran. They have the most insane case of brain drain in the last decade, I think. Maybe something like 200,000 graduates leaving a year. That I may have just pulled that number out of my ass, but I know the number is really high. You studied history. I'm currently in my 3rd semester writing an assignment on military strategy in the early 20th century. Man, that sounds cool. But yeah, I have a bachelor's degree in history. I finished this summer, and I didn't really specialize in anything, but I wrote about just about every aspect. My bachelor's project was about Antiochus IV, which was a king of the Seleucid Empire. A king of an empire, a king or emperor perhaps. He was referred to as a king, but it is referred to as the Seleucid Empire. So yeah, that's how specific it went. That one dude in that one empire 2,250 years ago. I came on here expecting a cheeky bit of City Skylines, but man, didn't expect it to be political. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I have a Twitch channel, and in the rules section I've written that I do not mind the discussion of neither religion nor politics. I don't know why people tend to write that you can't discuss religion or politics during their stream. I don't know why every fucking Twitch stream or YouTube stream has to be a safe space. I mean, if you don't like the discussion, you don't have to participate. You can just relax and watch it. So no, I enjoy a bit of politics and religion. I'm always trying to get smarter, really. As a further historian, what are the periods and subjects from history you're interested in? I'm specialized in German history, although I'm Dutch. Well, I guess your specialization is pretty typical and broad enough for you to spend a lifetime researching it. But it kind of varies. There are a lot of things that interest me. I think that one of the first things that kind of caught my attention to history when I was a teenager was the Second World War, especially the Eastern Front and everything to do with Operation Barbarossa. Just the scale and intensity of it kind of blew me away. I've had periods where Roman history were the coolest thing ever. Medieval history, of course. Danish history not so much, but Viking history in Denmark a lot. So a bit of everything, honestly. Russia is a leader in space tech, nuclear tech, and is now a world leader in agriculture. Russia did have a brain drain, that is true, but it's building up again. I would agree, Justy, but the fact is that Russia has 145 million inhabitants, but its economy is barely bigger than that of California, if it even is. So there's a lot of waste going on. There's looking from 1991 and forward, there's so insanely much potential in Russia, but they've never really capitalized on it. Not to the extent that I think they could have, at least. Please zoom the map. Alright, man. It's genuinely great. It's like two things I like to get in one video. Yeah, Lewis, I take the nerdiness to a next level. Making politics taboo is how you breed ignorance. That's man, I should caption that statement. That's true. And yeah, open, respectful discussion. It all has to be from a somewhat not informed point of view, but with an intention to learn. So anybody that wishes to discuss religion and politics being completely enclosed in how they watch the topic, that's not gonna give anything profitable. But other than that, I respect most opinions, and I will try to like explore different opinions to every topic, and that's from the right and the left wings. Now that you said that you're not interested in Danish history, I just realized I don't know much about Danish history, but the part where they tried to colonize the sea, yeah. We were big once, and then we became big again during the Kalmar Union, and now it's all lost. All the wealth is in the Moscow region and slightly stretching down towards Crimea. Russia should actually have an economy the size of the US. They were a near collapse only 25 years ago. I don't think they should have an economy the size of the US, but I think Japan is probably a better metric to measure against. The United States just has something which it has had for like 50 years or maybe 200 years if you put it in a bigger perspective, and that's the prospect of a better life. And that means that brain wants to move to America. It's always been like that, and it's probably gonna be like that in the foreseeable future as well. So the amount of innovation, the amount of patents that are like created in the US, the tech industry, yeah, it's the perfect storm. So, but I suppose that Russia, if everything had went butter smooth after 1991, it could have maybe started matching the Japanese economy or the German economy. Yeah, the German economy is probably a good metric right about now, because they have much more natural resources in Germany, and they have some like 65 million more people. Man, this turned into a to all the guys that came to watch me build stuff, I have to apologize. Danish history is basically fighting Sweden all the time, yeah, pretty much. And then in 1660, oh come on, 63 maybe, I'm not sure, but we fucked it all up and we lost our positions. Yeah, we lost Skåne. It's too bad. Skåne is still I think Skåne is still Danish, not de jure but de facto. Stop blah blah blah, zoom the map. Alright, I'll show you the city. This is what we have so far, man. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom quickly, be right back. Don't build, keep talking, it's very interesting. It's yeah. We Swedes say that Skåne is Danish too. Like, is there some kind of anti-immigration joke hidden in there, that you don't want Malmö anymore or something? Is it some kind of next level joke, Jonathan? You can tell me if it is. Back to Skylines, I agree. What do I need? I need to finish this area up here. And by finish, I mean put trees everywhere. It's the lazy man's way of adding some substance to your areas. Just spamming trees. Oops. Have you ever considered going to political science? Nope. My girlfriend has she soon has a master's degree in political science. And I find it, to be honest, I find it rather boring. Politics is just, yeah, it's, I think you might start a political science degree and you have, you know, you have some missions you want to achieve, or you have something you really believe in, and then the political indoctrination is just gonna drain that from you until you're as corrupt or despisable as the rest of them. And I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but yeah, I'd rather go into politics without any degree in politics, to be honest. Some time ago you talked about SimCity 4. Do you play vanilla or the modded one? I played a pretty heavily modded version of SimCity 4, although the vanilla game is pretty good looking, at least, as well. But yeah, I used mods, so I'm pretty happy about how easy it is to acquire mods nowadays as opposed to back then. Because installing mods for SimCity 4 was, yeah, not fun. Not bad. Now we just have to let me see if I can copy this layout. Yeah, and I think in Denmark you start learning English from the 4th grade now. Don't really remember for me. I think it was 6th grade, maybe. It's alright. So how has everyone's day been so far? It's been pretty good, Aaron. How about you? It's been pretty good. I'm done with all my exams, so I hope to have some time now doing stuff. So I think it definitely helped this area a bit by scaling it a bit, making it a bit bigger. I think half the music on this playlist is made in Russia. Siberia even. Maybe they don't have anything else today to do. I don't know. But it's pretty funny. Play this game on PlayStation 4, it would absolutely kill everybody in every one of my cities for a few of those mods. Yeah, honestly I cannot imagine playing this on a console, how restrictive it must feel. One thing is the movement and the controls, but just having to play the vanilla iteration of the game with no mods, I wouldn't play the game then. Have you ever used roadmap overlays successfully? No, man. I haven't. It looks pretty cool, but I never really tried to recreate an area. A few times I've looked to Google Maps to see if I could recreate an area. I kind of got bored pretty quickly, so I just look and I try to acquire a certain amount of knowledge about the type of landscape, cityscape that I want to achieve, and then I kind of just jump into it, and I hope to achieve it while I go along. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But it's kind of one of the fun aspects in this game for me, is just to try it out. So instead of pre-planning or anything like that, I just kind of jump into it. And it's the same with like the people that saw me do the downtown area here. Kind of took it one block at a time. Didn't even have a master plan. I just have I kind of have an ongoing idea in my head that, okay, if this is the city hall and if this is the main train station, then I have some sort of vision maybe about to what extent I want the inner city to reach, and from the extent of the inner city I am kind of able to map in my head to what extent I want the rest of the city to kind of spread out. And of course this is dependent on if I'm building a European or an American themed city, what kind of sprawl I intend for the city to have. It can also be dependent on if I give the city a certain narrative. I like to work with like some narratives for my city, so where I kind of have a theme going on, or I have like a basic story for the city that will also shape it. So it's like with the European city I made, or the British city, or whatever it was kind of a clusterfuck of all those things, to be honest. But I kind of had this narrative that some parts of the city were heavily hit during the Blitz by the German Luftwaffe, and other parts of the city went through the war without any issues. So that kind of helped shape for me in my head, okay, what do I want to build and where. But the actual building of it is almost always improvised to some extent. And of course the culprit or the danger of doing that is that you can build areas where when you zoom out and look you think, I don't really know if I like it. So, but I think it gets better. I'm kind of able to build almost everything I want now and kind of improvising it, and in the end I like most of it, and it's also more fun for me, and so that's kind of the key aspect, I guess.
First and foremost,
I love how the central station is 1/8 of the historical center. Yeah, it's it's pretty big. It does have decent traffic though. So, but yeah, it's pretty big, and I guess the center of the city could have been bigger.
If there's things you need to change, change them before you go on that journey.
HD voice.
Your whole heart to that.
Thank you for the compliments, Shaker Shepard. Yeah, Nielsen, it's HD voice now. Thanks to you, actually. Spent that donation money well.
You can't do it, mate. Now you're gonna fail. Nope.
Yeah, the PS4 version is sort of lacking. I would give anything for the contour to raise and lower the land and shape it to my... Oh shit, you can't even do that, man. I feel with you. That sounds awful. That sounds awful. If you guys think I do a lot of parking, just be glad we're not building an American city tonight. Because then I'll show you what parking is all about. I mentioned this in another stream. If you're not really happy about detailing, you should start by abusing decals, because they just add so much, but they're so easy to place. They just add something else. Of course, depending on how like modern and clean your city is, you need to think carefully about how much of them you use. But yeah, just placing them kind of random, scattered throughout, I think it does help a bit. It just adds a bit of something without having to painstakingly detail too much. Oops. Would you ever consider doing an American city like Cincinnati? That would be awesome. Yeah, I think that when I start doing an American city again, I need to have like a theme going. So the city needs to have a history that is currently very present in the city, for, you know, for good or worse, basically. So it could be kind of in a similar vein I've already done, where we have a city that has a lot of issues. Issues with crime, issues with decay, lack of investor attention, bad services, lack of funding, racial issues, maybe segregational issues, stuff like that. I mean, American cities are modern issues, but come on. Do you think you could do a medieval town center thing in some neighborhood, so it looks like the newer, bigger town around the water might have developed and swallowed the other medieval? Yeah, I could. I don't think I could do it for this city, Amadeus. It's kind of too advanced. I'd have to raise a part of the inner city, I suppose. But again, the idea is kind of to have several cities and villages connect throughout the region. So I think like these mountains could be a really cool spot for like a really old city, with something like an old monastery maybe. So it's definitely a possibility. Is there already a school or kindergarten in town? Yeah, I have a few schools. I have a big one here. which I guess is more fit like a high school. And I have some smaller schools throughout the city. I have I can't find any now, so that's awesome. Oh wait, I built a really large elementary school up here to serve this high density area. My inner vegan is freaking out to all those drowned trees. I'm sorry, man. Which city in Denmark are you in? I am in Aalborg in Jutland. Yeah, so here, as you can see, I just have a single like apartment building to kind of break up the area a bit, add some diversity. I've employed that down here as well. Let's see if we can find it here, where I just have some apartment buildings following the main road here as well. So of course in this case it's kind of part of the transition from medium density to low density, and up here it's more just to break up the similar feel of it a bit, add some diversity to it. Thanks, Anton. I don't think there's much left actually, so I kind of have to think of a new project to begin the next stream. I think maybe I should finish this though. Just see if I can place it somewhere where the parking lot is a little less suicidal. I guess this will do. Then of course we're gonna lead a road down. So I'm just gonna lay the road like quickly, and then I'm gonna adjust the height and the curvature of each segment afterwards. Whoops. The post boxes on the sides of the road, oh yeah. Also the way the terrain physics model works in this game, or however you say it, so that there's this large gap and you can't really just have a steep decline. I think that would be pretty awesome. But no. Oh, this is a double guardrail for center. Oops. Let's see if the single one looks better. Yeah, it does.
Back and see it against the girl's crocheted dress.
So if any of you don't know how to adjust it while it's drawn, you hold control, you left click, and you're able to drag when you have the when you have it as you want it, you click Control again and you double click, left click. So Control and you double click. And it's pretty handy for some of the more awkward curves. Let's see how steep this can be. Oh, quite a bit actually.
I'll roll it back and see it against the girl's crocheting dress. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Way too much. It's nearly midnight. I don't know if I should go to sleep. I don't know, Jan. Do you have something you have to do tomorrow? I like being up early. I kind of have a small New Year's resolution to go to the gym early in the morning instead of pushing it so far back. I have pretty low FPS here, but the view is kind of scenic. I think the City Skylines community is still pretty small compared to some other games. I agree, man. It's I mean, I think there are a lot of us. I think there are a lot of us, but compared to other games, it's definitely still very much a niche. Okay, something is horribly wrong with this parking lot. Holy crap! I'm just gonna have to go take a look. Oh, should be able to fix it though. Right? No? What, are they part of a model? Oh, they are. Okay, makes sense. I can't delete them then. Games like this have a pretty niche audience, yeah. Well, I've said it before, one niche is City Skylines, another niche is playing it like in a heavy modified version where you adhere to rules about what you feel is realistic and what's possible. So it's a niche within a niche. Okay, I wanted to inspect this guy, but he's just parking here, so not much fun there. Is nobody gonna drive down the mountain? At least this fan base can't really develop tumors members. Yeah, I guess it's hard to make a clickbait living within City Skylines. So you're right about that. There are other larger games that are very infected with clickbait and just bad content, basically, in hopes of catching some of the viewers. How many assets do you use and how much RAM do you have? I think I use about 3,500 assets as per the loading screen mod for this Steam account, and I have 24 gigabytes of RAM. I don't think I maxed them out completely. I think my Japanese city used just about 4,000 assets, but I'm getting there. If you have RAM issues, make sure that you have your page file set to a lot of gigabytes on whatever hard drive you have City Skylines on. How to stop the train in GTA 5 working 99. Top 10 things you must do in City Skylines. I could make that. Disappoint everybody. Doesn't really appeal to large audiences like mainstream FPS. Now, we definitely have a case where the entry-level computer gamers getting younger and younger, I think, and there might be some stereotypes about them having a low attention span and having to be like hyper-stimulated instantly. So a game like City Skylines is just not gonna appeal to them at all. I think Neviki wants me to build a cemetery. Do we even have? Actually, I do. So I think that'll be for the next stream. I'll build a cemetery, and it's gonna be called something with Nikki because he came up with the idea. So I'm just gonna remember you, Nikki. Don't worry. Let's see, Nikki. Cemetery. So we'll have Nikki Cemetery and Jonathan Hospital. Building a red light district. Yeah, that's clickbaity. Well, I guess it's not clickbaity if you actually build it. I mean, clickbait is just it's like an art form almost. You have to have like some red circles and some red arrows pointing to something very obvious in the thumbnail. And like you need to have like, the thumbnail cannot be a part of the video. It needs to be excessive and over the top. Given the apparent age of the city, a monumental cemetery would be fitting. Yeah, I think I agree, Leon. It should be pretty big. Do you have Pidelmo's pines? I'm not sure, Lucas. I have some, but I'm not sure I have the exact ones you're looking for. I assume PD is a shortening of Pidelmo. I use these in my city. They're pretty nice. Add trams, yeah, Mika, I think I might do that soon. Adding some trams and some bus routes. The city is almost, well, it could use more detailing, but it could always use more detailing. But it's almost done as far as how far I want to expand it, so I definitely need to add mass transit in the next stream. Yemen Kakirli, thank you for the subscription, man. Why not putting some Japanese pop music in time lapses? Shit, I don't know any Japanese pop music, to be honest. Do you know any? Is it any good? Ah, much like the Building Osaka series. Yeah, but I don't think it sounds good. That's I try to pick music that I would listen to myself, or music that doesn't annoy me too much. Won't you stream anymore on Twitch? Maybe, but I just think it's easier for people to read, to interact and see the stream when I stream here on YouTube. What was the name of the song in the intro to your Project Japan series? I'm gonna find it to you and link it. It's not something you would otherwise be able to find. What's it called? What's it called? What's it called? Just gonna mute this for a second and play this one. I think it's from this one. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. So it's pretty weird music, but I just felt it had some sort of like urban vibe to it, so that's why I picked it. And it's from, I'm gonna link it in the chat. It's from a Danish comedian show I saw some years ago, and I just noticed that the music was kind of interesting. So yeah, it's very random. Does your game run slowly, or do you have low FPS? Over the past few weeks my game runs slowly, even with good 20 FPS after about 3 hours of playing. Yeah, my game runs slow. It always does. Sometimes it's worse than sometimes it's bad, sometimes not so bad. In the Project Japan series, it's pretty bad. I mean, as soon as you have any sort of city with a lot of assets and mods, you can have like 3 stages of FPS. You can have bad and really bad and god awful. And so I think the Project Japan series it's kind of going into the god awful territory. But as long as I'm zoomed in at like the level I'm zoomed in right now, it's bearable and not so noticeable. But as soon as you start panning out, and especially as you move towards more city, it's, yeah. I have 18 FPS right now, as you can see, 17 even. Every freaking time when I hear it, Japan Project vibes, yeah. I think it fits really good, the intro song, honestly. Oh, I need some music. But yeah, it's getting kind of late, so I think I'm gonna find the last song to play, and then I think I'll be tuning out and going to bed. And hopefully I'll be able to upload the Project Japan next episode tomorrow. I think I have most of the footage I need. I just need some cinematics. It's a pretty big area I've built this time, so there's a ton of infrastructure, stacked expressways, new train routes, a large dome like stadium, 2 shopping malls, yeah, a bunch of stuff. But the save has been pretty hard on me lately because the city is getting so big, the simulation is running so slowly. And it crashed on me 4 times, so if you think I save often here, you should watch me play the Japanese city. I save like every 5 minutes, I think. But yeah, I hope for tomorrow. I hope so. It should be around like maybe 25, 6 or 7 minutes long. And I'll see if I can download these VODs from this stream and the earlier one and make that into an episode as well, a stream recap. Because if people want to watch this stream to see me build stuff, they'll find like 30 minutes of politics talk in the middle of it. Geopolitics and the situation in Russia and Ukraine and... So yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you all for tuning in. It was awesome, just like last time. So I hope I can release tomorrow. I really do. People are craving for more insights about Russian political status. I'll bring some more next time. Some deep insider knowledge. See you guys.